All right, we're going to get started. So who is excited to be here? Wow, if you can do that at 9 o'clock in the morning, you know you're excited. Anyone excited about what we heard at General Session yesterday? What do you think of that new logo? And anyone excited to see new products this afternoon? All right, well, we're not doing that now. So sorry. All right, but hello and welcome to Abundant Bookings. We are
Missy Iltz
and Susan Warshay, and we are excited to be here too. In the next hour, you are going to learn tips for filling your calendar, and you'll learn how to get bookings when you're out and about, at shows, on the phone, and by using social media. So before we get started, if you could please put your cell phone on silent, thank you. And we do have a lot of great information to share with you, and we do have to tell you we both talk fast. So in order to make sure that you get what we are saying, we have set up a Facebook group that is only for the people in this room. Yay! And at the end, yeah, you have to stay till the end, we're going to give you directions for how you can access the Facebook group. But we want you to know about it in advance so that you don't have to panic if you miss something or you aren't able to get done everything we're saying. We've posted some of the scripts we're sharing and some of the other documents in that group, so you're going to have access to all of it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And we haven't even said anything yet, and they already love us.
Our job is done. So before I kind of jump in, I wanted to share, I was talking with a friend of mine, and we were really freaked out. There's a lot to tell you all about bookings. Like, we thought this would be easy. It is hard because there's so much to tell you. We only have an hour. And he said to me, you know, you can really teach this in 10 minutes. And I said, what? And he goes, this is what you need to say. Go out, do a good show, be knowledgeable, get lots of bookings. Thank you. Have a nice conference.
If you have a seat next to you, please raise your hand. There's a bunch of people in the back that are standing. So if any of you ladies in the back, I don't think there's any gentlemen, want to come and find a seat, please do. Just keep your hand up for a second. We don't want you to have to stand for an hour and try and take notes at the same time. Meet someone new. Thank you so much.
Okay, so just a little bit about Susan and I before we get going. Together, Susan and I have been with the Pampered Chef for 31 years. We've combined sales of almost $3.4 million. We've done almost 7,000 shows. We've both received the President's Award for being top 20 in sales and recruiting over the past 10 years and have taken trips to Munich, Cancun, Alaska, Hawaii, Caribbean cruises, Ireland, Disney several times, the Bahamas, and many other amazing places around the world, thanks to the Pampered Chef. Together, we average about 24 shows a month. So if you put us together, you have one awesome consultant. You can just call us Musin and Sissy.
Okay, so if I could wave a magic wand and put all the shows you want on your calendar every month, I want you to think about how many that would be. Would you want one show on your calendar each week? 2 shows per week? More? I want you to visualize what a full calendar looks like to you.
Please bear with us just a moment. He's going to fix it.
Oh, that's the other room? Okay. All right, how does that make you feel? What recognition would you be earning at a meeting? How do you feel when your paycheck comes? And what does your husband or wife say when he or she sees that paycheck? I want you to think of what you really want. Not what you think you can get, but if you knew you couldn't fail, the exact number of shows that you would like to do each and every month. So take a minute and jot that number down somewhere. Now, why is it so important to know that number? Well, if you don't know what you want, how are you going to know when you get there? If you don't know what you want, you're just likely to settle for whatever comes your way, and whatever comes your way will likely be little or nothing. But if you know what you want each month, if you have a goal in mind, you're more likely to work to make that goal a reality and not just take what you get. You're much more likely to make it happen if you have a goal in mind, and if you don't have a goal, you can't make a plan to get there. Now, unfortunately, I do not have a magic wand. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but there is no magic formula that we're going to share today that will instantly get bookings on your calendar. But what will get bookings on your calendar is first, believing that you can, and second, not giving up, not quitting until you have the number of bookings you want. Everyone in this company, including both of us, has a hole on their calendar from time to time. The difference between those who get the bookings on their calendar, the number of bookings they want, and those who don't, is those who have the bookings didn't quit asking. Look at the chart in the front of the room. You all listed reasons that you don't have enough bookings. And what are some of these reasons? I don't pick up the phone and make calls. I have not been asking every single person if they want to book a party. My lack of follow-through in a timely fashion. Too tired after my other job to make calls. Fear of rejection. So if you could look at the chart in the front of the room, you all listed reasons that you don't have enough bookings. And what are some of those reasons? My lack of follow-through in a timely fashion.
Not making enough calls or contacts.
I don't pick up the phone to make phone calls.
I've not been asking every single person if they want to book a party.
Fear of rejection.
Too tired after my other job to make calls.
And are these your fault or someone else's fault? Well, if you look at that chart, it is overwhelmingly on the your fault side, which means that you have the ability to get those bookings. And to be honest, if you put it under someone else's fault, it could just be an excuse. So we are going to help you with the skill today to get the bookings, but you have to have the will.
So here's something I learned a few years back at a direct sales training from a guy named Richard Fenton. And this may totally, sort of, kind of, rebuke what Susan said, and that is you have to have no goals. And I'm not saying you don't have to have any goals at all, but you need to have a goal when you start making calls of how many no's you want to hear. Because what if you're making calls and you say, okay, I'm going to make calls until 2 people book shows? What if, miraculously, those first 2 people say yes to you? What do? Stop. Yeah, you stop. You go to the pool, you play with the kids, you watch Big Brother, whatever it is you're watching, you quit calling. And you quit asking. But turn that around. What if you have a goal of how many no's you want to hear? How many no's you want to hear when you're booking? Realize you're going to hear no. That's just a part of this business. So if it scares you, if it makes you feel uncomfortable, you need to get over that before you even walk out of our door today. But for many reasons, hearing no puts people in shutdown mode. You hear a no, you hear 2 no's, you're like, okay, finished. Don't even want to talk to anybody else. But I'm going to give you a reason to continue on. Would you like a reason to continue on? Okay. So I want you to check this out. 44% of salespeople say they give up after hearing the first no. That's almost half of us. 22% more give up after they hear the second no. 14% more give up after they hear the third no. 12% more give up after they hear the fourth no. So that means 92% of you are giving up before you hear the 5th no. But 60% of customers say no 4 times before they finally say yes. So if you're giving up, you're missing out. If you want to be in that top 8% of people who don't give up, who keep going, then you need to keep asking and keep asking and keep asking.
In addition to not giving up, you have to believe that you have something of value to offer and that people want to book a show. Now, why is that so important? How many of you are familiar with the belief triangle? So your beliefs determine your actions determine your results, and your results, in turn, reinforce that belief. So if you don't believe that there are people who want to host shows and that there is value to hosting, you're not going to be putting a lot of effort into asking, are you? And you're not going to be asking in a very effective manner. And what are the results of those actions going to be? Well, you won't be getting bookings on your calendar, which in turn is going to reinforce what? Your belief that nobody wants to book a show. Now, your brain is not as smart as you think it is. It's going to believe anything you tell it. So we are going to start by telling our brains that we can and will book shows. So I want you to look back at that number that you jotted down earlier, the number of shows you really want on your calendar every month. And I want you to think about stating it as if you already have that number, as in, Missy, I am so excited that I have 12 shows on my calendar for July.
Susan, I am so excited that I have 16 shows on my calendar for July.
Awesome. So I want you to turn to the person next to you and tell them how excited you are to already have the number of shows that you want. Go ahead and do that. All right, excellent. Perfect. Good job. Now, what I want you to do, I want you to wake up every single morning and look in the mirror and say that to yourself. And every night before you go to bed, I want you to say that to yourself. You want to put Post-it notes around your house telling yourself, I have however many of shows you want on my calendar. And people love booking shows with me. You are training your brain to believe, which is the first step in making it a reality. And if you don't yet believe, you've got to trust us. The actions we are about to teach you will work, which means you'll get the results, and then the belief will follow.
Can I use that chart for 1 sec?
Yes.
And one thing I want to say about this, you may not always come in right here in the belief. You may just need to do it. You might not think you can. You just need to go do it, because once you do it, you'll get results, and then your belief is strengthened. Does that make sense? Yeah. So just do it, kind of like, Nike. Just do it. So, is this working? Okay. So Susan might not have a magic wand, but I do. So I want you to repeat after me. The phone is a friend, not a foe. It will get my business where I want it to go. And you might hate, you don't have to repeat this. You might hate it. So if you think you can build your sales business without using the phone, you are absolutely fooling yourself. Remember when Roy Vaden said yesterday, enjoying it is not a requirement of doing it? I hate being on the phone. I still do. After 17 and a half years, enjoying it is not a requirement of doing it. I know it's what I have to do. But if you're going to use that phone to make calls, to book shows, the first step, there's 2 steps. Who am I going to call? What am I going to say to them? And many of you start out and you don't know who you want to call, and then you know who, and then you don't know what to say, so you get on the phone and you fumble and you never plan it out and you get awful results, and now your belief is back to, I can't book shows. So what I want to talk about, well, the biggest excuse that I hear from people about, and it's up there, I read a lot of them, this is up there. I don't know enough people. Or I called everyone and no one wants to book a show. Did you know that statistics say every person knows at least 600 people? So imagine my team when they say, I called everybody. I'm from Illinois, by the way. I called everybody. Nobody wants to book a show. I go, you mean you called everyone in Illinois? That's incredible. And they know exactly what I'm talking about. Like I'm saying, just be quiet and start making more calls. Because in the end, that's what you need to do. So let's talk about who to call. When you all started, we talked about the Franks list. And the Franks list is really just compiling a list to remember just how many people you know. Franks is an acronym for friends, relatives, acquaintances, associates, neighbors, people you know through your kids, and people you know through your spouse. It just helps you kind of do some brainstorming of who you actually know. How many of you have a Franks list? Well, if your hand's not up, you need one. Because how are you going to know who you need to call? If you have a Franks list, my bet is you haven't called everyone on it. And if you say you have, then you haven't made a complete non-judgmental Franks list. Notice when I said you need to make a Franks list to list everyone you know, I didn't say you need to list everyone you know who will book a show. Who are you to judge who is going to book a show? Why would you take that out of someone's hands? It's their decision, it's not yours. So leave that in their hands. Just list them with no prejudgments in mind. There are some great clues about people to put on your Franks list. It's kind of like when we help our hosts brainstorm who to invite to their show. And we're going to post that on the Facebook page. We're not going to go through it. It takes up a ton of time, but we'll post all the categories on the Facebook page that we're making so that you can go through and make that Franks list. But keep adding to your list. Leave it on the counter. Tell your husband, tell your kids, tell your sister. When you think of anyone that you know that should be on this list, put them on there. And it will keep growing. And when you feel like you're at a stall, you don't know who in the world else you're going to put on there to call, you feel like you've called everybody. Well, there's not 600 people on your list, I bet, first of all. But then think about if I was getting married next week, who would I invite? I bet you there would be a lot. I know we're having a wedding in October. I have 521 people on the list. So I know that there are a lot of people. Conversely, if you do that and you still feel like you don't have anybody, I want you to scroll through your cell phone contacts. If there are some of those people in your contacts that aren't on there, put them on the list. I want you to look at your Facebook friends. Because they don't have to be people that you know intimately. We just want to know who it is that I know. Where can business come from? Has anybody ever made your list and then you cross somebody off? Because you put them on and you're like, oh, they would never do this. Or they're the people, I call it the chicken list. Like the people you're a chicken to call. Because you are, like, I can ask them. Well, if you're doing that, you're making a really, really big mistake. And let me tell you about my Aunt Pat. I had been in the business a little over 7 years, and we were at a family function, and we were talking about the Pampered Chef, and my Aunt Pat got really quiet, and she looked at me, and she goes, why have you never asked me to host a show for you? I really didn't know what to say other than, I really didn't think this was your thing. Aunt Pat was on the list, by the way, and I still have it with these big scribbles through her name. And I said, I didn't really think this was your thing, this was your gig, I didn't think you'd want to do it. And she goes, oh my gosh, Missy, I would love to host a show. So we set a show up, we had the show, it was $1,400, and she does a show every single year. You have to call the chicken list people, you have to. That's why they're called the chicken list people. So once you get your Frank's list together, you know who you're going to call. The next thing is figuring out what you're going to say. I always tell my team, never ever do anything willy-nilly. I guess that's an Illinois phrase, I don't know. Just don't throw it to the wind, call, and not know what you're going to say. If you make a plan of what you're going to say and you say it over and over and over again to everybody you call, it's going to become just like host coaching. It's going to become just like doing your show. It's second nature to you. So you want a script, and there are tons of scripts that Pampered Chef provides to you on the website. Another good tip is when you make those calls, make them in bundles. Don't just do one. Because when you do one, don't you feel sick? You're looking at the phone, you're looking at the phone, you're looking at the phone. Like the video I wanted to show you was from Despicable Me, where he's trying to call the girl when he wants to go out with her, and he's looking at the phone, and he's practicing, and he's freaking out, and he finally brings up the blowtorch, and he just torches the phone and burns it all up. That's what I want to do with it. But make the first call, you feel better. Make the second call, you feel better. Even if they say no, make the third call, you're like, woo, I got it going on now. Keep making them in bundles. You'll get comfortable. And when you're comfortable, the results will come. This is just an example of something that you could say. We posted it on the Facebook page. You don't have to write this down. Hi, Susan, it's Missy. I'm so excited to let you know that I've decided to become more active in my Pampered Chef business, and I'm looking for a way to pay for my kids' extracurricular activities, and I know that my business can do that for me. I thought of you, Susan, because I know you love the Pampered Chef, and my goal is to schedule 6 parties in the next 30 days. Do you think we could get some friends together and we could come and do a show at your house? Easy. So easy. And if they say no, they say no. Are you any worse off than you were before? No, she wasn't doing a show anyway. Now she's still not, so who cares? And if she thinks you're nuts, who cares? It doesn't matter. But if someone says yes, then you have to know what you're going to say then. So what you're going to be the doctor, and you're going to say, awesome, I'm booking shows for July, and my first available date is July 29th. Will that work for you? Or you could say, great, I'm doing shows on July 19th and July 22nd. Which one works best for you? It's how the doctor's office offers them to you, and they do it for a reason. Because it books what they want to book, not just leave the schedule to the wind. But what if someone says no? There's one thing that you have to know, that you have to say to these people. And you have to say to them, whether it's on the phone or face-to-face, are you saying no, not now, or no, not never? Because if you don't ask that, it leaves you wondering later down the road, did she mean no, not now, or no, not never? Can I put her on the list? Can I call her again? What am I supposed to do? So asking that question lets you know. And if they say no, not now, the next question is what? When may I get back with you? Because I'll tell you, when I first asked that question, I would say, oh, you mean no, not now, no, not never. They would say, oh, no, not right now. I'd say, okay, I'll get back with you. 3 months down the road, I would schedule them. I schedule it in the calendar. I put who I'm supposed to call, why I'm supposed to call them. And one night, I don't know where it came from, I just said, well, when would you like me to get back to you? And the lady said, oh, just give me a call next week. If I had waited 3 months, would I probably have lost her business? Yes. Yeah. But no, not now, and no, not never really lets you know when you're supposed to call. It's going to ensure you're not missing out on future business. But what if they say no, not never? Then you need to get out of that conversation gracefully. That's the word I'm looking for. So I always add on a good note. I say, thank you for your time and honesty, but can I ask you a favor? If you ever know of anyone looking for a Pampered Chef consultant, or you ever change your mind, would you give them my name, or would you give me a call? They always say yes. They don't ever say, oh, no, I'm not going to pass your name along. So the Franks list is about who you know. Asking for that referral is about who your friends know and expanding that line of business. Now, if you're a brand new, are there any brand new consultants in here? Okay, so you might need to tweak that script a little bit from what we talked about. We have that on the Facebook page too, so that you will know that. And we realize not everyone answers the phone these days. And while we believe a phone call is absolutely the most personal, best way to connect with people, sometimes people only want to communicate by text, but don't use that as an excuse to get your chicken self out of calling the chicken people. Don't say, oh, they only want to talk by text. If they've said, only communicate with me by text, then send them that script in a text. Does that make sense? Great, perfect. Susan.
All right, I have to tell you that after 17 years, Missy and I still have people on our Franks list that we can connect with. But if you are feeling like you've run out of family and friends, one of the best things you can do to expand your network is make contacts when you are out and about. And this is also great if you've just moved to a new area or if you are looking to increase your show schedule. Now, I know that connecting with people when you're out and about can be really scary for some of you. Your mother told you never to talk to strangers, and you take that seriously. But in this instance, your mother was wrong. And talking to strangers can be one of the best things you can do to build your business. So the most important thing that you can do to be successful at making contacts when you're out and about, you ready for this? This is your big tip. Just be friendly. That's it. In order to connect with people when you're out and about, you just want to be nice. But there are a few things that you can do to be prepared. The first one is dress for success. The second is be prepared with the right materials. And the third is you want to have a few all-purpose phrases ready to go. Okay, so first of all, dress for success. I am not suggesting that you wear your prom dress to the grocery store. But if you overslept and you didn't shower and you just threw on sweats to drive your kids to school, it may not be the best time to be out looking to connect with people. You want to look neat and tidy. You want to wear clean clothes. You want to look like someone that people want to do business with. You also want to make sure to either wear a Pampered Chef logo wear or carry a Pampered Chef tote bag or even just wear a Pampered Chef button. These items make you look more official and professional, and they can sometimes even encourage people to start a conversation with you. Second of all, you want to be prepared. Now, you don't have to have your whole office in your tote bag, but do have some business cards and catalogs. And actually, the easiest thing to carry is a mini catalog. And what you want to do is you want to stick a little Post-it note on the front of that catalog, the mini catalog, and before you go out, you're going to just be prepared to say to someone as you hand it to them, you know, part of my job is to give out 10 of these a week. May I give one to you? And when they say yes, you can just draw your attention to the sticky note and say, you know, I do a drawing each week from people I meet when I'm out and about. If you'll just fill out your information on the front, you'll be entered into the drawing, and if you're the winner, I'll give you a call and you're going to win a Pampered Chef prize. Now, we actually have a template for this Post-it note that you will be able to use just for that purpose, and it has spaces for name, email, address, etc., and that's posted on the Facebook page. So you're all going to have access to that. So you can just use a regular sticky note, or you can print out this little template on your sticky notes. And again, pass out the minis, and at the end of the week, you can do a drawing from everyone you meet. Now, everybody else who is not the winner, you can just tell them they've won a free show. And that just means you're going to bring the ingredients. And you can tell them, hey, congratulations, you won a free show. I'll bring the ingredients so you don't have to have all that, you don't have to have that expense. And the person who won the season's best or whatever you decide to give away, they can win a free show too. Okay, finally, your all-purpose phrase. I think the biggest obstacle that gets in the way of people actively connecting with people when they're out and about is just not knowing what to say. And the most important thing that I can tell you about the words to say, or what to say when you connect with people with out and about, is just don't worry about making the perfect transition. Don't worry about fitting something in a smooth and seamless manner. Oftentimes people are so worried about making the perfect transition or getting the right words in that they miss out on the opportunity altogether. Like anything you do, you're going to get better with practice. Just remember, a successful connecting conversation is one that you've actually had. So think of a few phrases that you're comfortable with, like, hey, do you mind if I give you my business card? Or, have you ever heard of the Pampered Chef? Or, I'm a new Pampered Chef consultant and I'm trying to get the word out. Are you familiar with the Pampered Chef? And by the way, you can be new for as many years as you want to be. Or how about, can I ask you a question? I'm a consultant with the Pampered Chef, and I'm wondering, would you be interested in seeing the latest Pampered Chef catalog? It's really not so important how you say it. It's just important that you say it. So you've got your logo wear on, your catalog tote is packed with your mini catalogs with a little sticker on them and a pen, and you've got a few all-purpose phrases ready to go. The next step is to get out there. Where do you go on a regular basis? Think about it. And if you don't go anywhere, you need to pick a few places to go each week. It's really important to get out of the house if you want to connect with new people. And if you find you're going to the same places all the time, pick a new grocery store, a different library, or go to the drugstore on the other corner. You want to be able to expand the possibilities of whom you might meet by going to new places. But I have to tell you, just showing up is not going to put new contacts in your lap. You have to actively seek out new contacts. Don't assume that just because you're wearing your Pampered Chef button or carrying your catalog tote that someone is going to approach you. Most of the time, you are going to initiate the conversation. And this is where we get back to what I said at the beginning. Just be friendly. Remember, you are looking to make contacts, to find a few leads, not to sign a new recruit on the spot or even necessarily to get someone to book a show right then and there. Your goal is to connect with someone, give them your contact information, and get theirs. So just start chatting with someone as you're waiting in line about the weather. Like, oh my gosh, is it still raining out there? I think we're gonna have to build an ark soon. Or compliment them on their outfit. Oh, what a cute blouse, where did you get that? Or, ask them about an item in their grocery cart. Oh, that looks delicious, where did you find that? And then you just insert one of those go-to phrases. Hey, can I ask you a question? Have you ever heard of the Pampered Chef? Or, it's been really nice chatting with you. Could I give you my business card? I'm with the Pampered Chef, and I'm always looking to find new people who might be interested in our products. Or here's my team's favorite. My director has challenged me to hand out 10 of these little mini catalogs a week. May I give one to you? And then, of course, you're going to hand them the mini and tell them about the weekly drawing so you can get their information. And the most important thing to do is to get their information. And if you have to follow up. The fortune is in the follow-up. If you're not going to follow up, you may as well just toss that mini in the garbage. Now, if doing this is totally uncomfortable for you, start by just making eye contact with strangers. And the next day, make eye contact and smile. The day after, add a hello. It may feel really uncomfortable at first, but in order to grow, you have to stretch out of that comfort zone. Your first conversations may be very awkward, and they might not go at all as you planned, but just keep connecting with better. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. Everything's going to feel uncomfortable until you do it enough times to get comfortable with it. And we challenge each one of you to get 10 minis and hand them out every single week and follow up. You'll be amazed at what it can do for your business. And then you're going to post on our Facebook page and tell us how it went. All right, so you've made all these contacts while you're out and about, and you followed up and you got a few bookings from your leads. So now Missy is going to talk about how to get bookings at those shows.
So remember, liking it is not a requirement to doing it. I know many of you said, I can't do that. There is no way. That is so uncomfortable. Well, the choice is you either do it and get bookings, or you don't do it and you don't get bookings. So remember that. So all of these ideas that Susan gave us are fantastic. You have your business, you've made contacts out and about, you have everything up and running, you have bookings now. So from this point on, once you get those bookings on your calendar, your goal should be to do your work at work. Book shows at shows. It's where the excitement is the highest. That's where you want to do those. That's where you want to get those bookings, because what it does is it frees up your time to make other types of calls. If you're constantly making booking calls, who has time to host coach? Who has time to call recruit leads? Who has time to do customer care? So you want to be booking those shows at shows to free up your time. Tell yourself, I cannot turn in a show unless I have at least 2 bookings from each show. Because what should your goal be to get from each show at a minimum? 2 bookings. 1 to replace the show you just did, and 1 to grow on. That's what you're looking for. And everybody should hopefully have this little handout that we ask you to print out from online, and it's the 2 shows per show. And I just want to really quickly go over that, because when I first saw this, it was shocking, even to me who's been in the business forever. In month 1 of your business, if you do 6 shows, probably, if you have 6 shows dated, I should say, probably 2 of those shows are going to cancel. So that leaves you with 4 shows held. If you book 2 from each of those, you have 8 new shows to move you into the next month. So then if you do 8, you have 8 shows booked. Probably 2 of those are going to cancel. It's going to leave you 6 shows to do for that month. If you get 2 bookings from those shows, you're now going to have 12 new shows to roll you into the next month or months. 12 shows, 2 of them cancel. You now have 10 shows to hold. You hold those 10, you get 2 bookings, you have 20 bookings. Now you have 20 shows to hold. Probably 4 are going to cancel. Your numbers are bigger, so you're going to have more cancels, more reschedules. So you're going to hold 16 shows. If you had 16 shows and 2 of those bookings, with 2 bookings from each, 32 new shows on your calendar. If you want 8 shows per month, that's 4 months worth of bookings. So booking 2 is the absolute key. But look at what happens when you book 1, and I'll tell you, when I look at my consultant tracker and I look at everybody's shows and the shows they're doing, the most numbers that I see for bookings at a show are typically 1 booking per show or 0. And that's why you're out of business, because if you have 6 shows dated, 2 of them cancel, that leaves you with 4 shows held. You book 1 show at each, you have 4 new shows. Into the next month with 4 new shows, 2 cancel. You hold 2 shows, you get 1 booking, you have 2 new shows. It's going to take you into the 3rd month. You have those 2 shows, but both cancel. Now you have no shows, and you're out of business. That's why you're out of business. You're not booking shows. And what you have to remember is you don't have to be the only one booking those shows. You don't have to be the one doing the work. Tell your host that your goal is to get her 2 shows booked at a minimum from her show, so that she gets 2 half-price items down the road when her pocketbooks have the opportunity to replenish itself. During host coaching, you're going to tell your host this. Also, you're going to coach your host for all of those outside order people. Ask them if they would like to book a show from your show. Especially those people go, oh, I'm so sorry, Susan, I can't come to your show. I love Pampered Chef. I wish I could be there. She should be ready to say, oh my gosh, would you like to book a show for my show? But if you don't coach her to do that, she's not going to do that. I email all outside orders. And I say, I'm so sorry I didn't have the opportunity to connect with you at the show, and I offer that to them. I'll put the wording on the Facebook page. I know it's not there yet, but I will do it. But it gives you the opportunity to offer that to outside order people. If you're host coaching using the party planner that we get, it talks about future bookings. So it's a natural progression through host coaching to talk to those hosts about helping you get 2 bookings. So when you get to the show, more often than not, you'll have 2 bookings and sometimes more, and you never even had to work for it. And it makes you feel more relaxed at the show. So I want to talk a little bit about why people book. People absolutely book shows for food, fun, friends, and free. They absolutely do. I call them my 4 favorite F words: food, fun, friend, and free. But I want you to think about this. It doesn't matter how much free stuff you're offering me. If you're a drag and you don't know what you're doing, I'm not booking a show with you. Period. That's just how it is. People want to have fun at a show, and if you're not having fun, they won't either. You have to be the most excited person in the room, because they're only half as excited as you are. A nervous, unprepared consultant makes people feel uncomfortable. They even feel sorry for you. That uncomfortable feeling doesn't leave them wanting to book a show with you. So turn up the excitement. Think to yourself, would you rather book a show with Tigger or Eeyore? Because Tigger will win out every single time. The other thing is, you have to be knowledgeable. You have to know about the products. The more you learn, the more you earn with this business. Quick tips, tricks, and tools, easy recipes, shortcuts with the tools or in everyday recipes are things that draw people in. If you don't do your homework, use Google, read cooking magazines, get these tips together, plan which ones you're going to talk about at your shows, because it gets people excited and they're like, wow, I left your show and I know something. And it feels like it has value to them. But if you also leave your kit packed up in your little bag in your car and you're not using your products at home, how are you going to sell this stuff if you don't love it? Can you imagine that I'm out at a show and people are looking at me going, holy crud, how does she get so excited about a stinking scraper? But it's true. It's exactly how I talk about my products. You have to use them. You have to love them. You have to believe in them. And when you use them at home, it gives you wonderful, hilarious stories to tell about what you did. That's what people want to hear because they want to have fun, but they also want to know that you're just like them. You ran the bamboo spoon down the blender and mixed it up with the margaritas. That's what they want to know. You have to believe and feel a genuine passion for these products. I love these products. People know it. They feel it. They want it. And you have to believe that these products change people's lives, and the opportunity to host a show changes people's lives. People also book because of you. They are naturally drawn to an excited, passionate person. You have to remember to be present at the show. Don't just go through the motions. Listen to what people say. Join in the conversation when appropriate. Get to know the needs and wants of your guests and hosts. We are not in the kitchen tool business. We are in the people business selling kitchen tools. If we don't have people, we don't have a business. Building a relationship with your hosts and your guests is one of the most important things that you will ever do to create a loyal, long-time lasting relationship with those people. Find common ground with the people and expand on it to make those connections so they keep coming back for more.
And you actually want to start to establish that relationship with your guests the moment they walk in the door. So first of all, it's really important to be set up in advance and be ready when the guests arrive. So you want to make sure you get to your show within enough time to get set up, because if you're busy prepping ingredients or arranging your demo table, you're not really going to get to be able to interact with people. I also recommend that you wait to put on your apron until you get to the cooking part of your show. You want to have people see you as a real person. I don't want to have people look at me and go, oh, that's Susan, the salesperson. So wait, don't put on the apron when you're greeting them. And just as guests walk in, just reach over to them, smile, be friendly, and say, hi, I'm Susan. And if they don't introduce themselves, say, what's your name?
Oh, hi, Susan, I'm Missy.
So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And then remember what we talked about when I was talking about meeting people when you're out and about? Just be friendly. So ask a few questions like, hey, how do you know the host?
Well, her son and my son play baseball together.
Okay. Or you could ask, anything like, how's the weather out there? Or
it's still raining.
Or did you have a long drive? Did you have a long way to go to get here? Or, ask about the weather. Or again, compliment them on their outfit. Ooh, that blue looks beautiful on you.
Oh, thank you.
And I try and ask them things about themselves or about their relationship with the host, and not ask them about Pampered Chef or about products. Because again, I want them to see me as a regular person, as a friendly person, and I don't want them to think that, I'm just there to sell them something. So get that relationship going from the beginning. Again, just be friendly.
So let's take a look at your cooking show. It's where the magic happens. It's where, you take out your little magic wand, kind of, well, a real one, not the one with the phone on the end. But first and foremost, at your cooking shows is your recipe selection. And I'm really, really careful what recipe I select for a show. And I want you to notice that I said what recipe I select at a show. I don't give that control away to somebody else because I know that the recipe is the vehicle by which I'm going to get bookings. And I'm going to get the bookings I want from showing what I need to show. I need to be in control of that. And if you're not in control of that, you need to seriously think about taking that back. My recipe selection is based on 3 things. Does the recipe show a lot of higher priced tools? Does the recipe show tools that are a host bonus for the month I'm trying to book shows in? And is the recipe a practical recipe that's duplicatable and people will want to make it home for their families? So many new consultants look at a recipe and they think, well, I couldn't do that because I don't have these big ticket items. You can do it. Find a substitute to put in and use that catalog. Reference the catalog all of the time. I use it all the time. I don't carry everything with me that we have to offer. You would have a broken back if you did. My recipe selection I offer all month long, and if I love it enough, I do it for 2 months. Susan, on the other hand, provides 6 choices for her host, and she does those 6 choices for 6 months. Either way, you're in control of what that recipe is, and you become an expert at that recipe. And what that does is you're not tied down to a recipe card. You can bop back and forth, and you'll still know what you're doing. Do it over and over. It's just like everything. Do it over and over again. So once you've decided what your recipe is, let's turn to the actual show. And whether you're doing station style shows like Susan or a traditional presentation style show like me, you can think of your show in 3 parts. You have the opening, you have the middle, like the cooking part or the station style part, and you have the closing. The opening of the show is super important because it's where you're going to get that initial no out of the way. You're going to mention bookings several times so that you've almost gotten up to that 5th time of asking. Remember that most people give up after their 4th time? So you're going to get up to that. And the only way for me to show you this is to model it. And I'll tell you it's not my exact opening because we cut some out because there's a part you don't need to hear, but my exact opening will be on the Facebook page. So this is what I do at the beginning of the show. Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you to Susan's Pampered Chef Show. My name is Missy Iles, and I have been with the Pampered Chef for over 17 years. I started my business as a way to be home with my babies, but it quickly grew into a thriving business. I just have to say, I love my job. Every time I go out to work, it's a party, it's friends getting together over great food, drink, and some of the best gossip you will ever hear about people you don't even know. You'd be surprised at what your neighbors are doing, that's for sure. I also love my job because Pampered Chef really likes to pamper and spoil their hosts. So Susan, I'm assuming you like gifts, right?
I love gifts.
Oh, of course, who doesn't? So I want to start you off by offering you the free copy of our Season's Best Recipe Collection cookbook. It's just what it says, a copy of the best recipes of the season. We come out with 2 of these per year, and I have people who host shows twice a year with me just because they want me to hand them this little cookbook for free. But also, I want you to know, Susan, you're going to get to go through the catalog at the end of the show and go for a shopping spree throughout the entire thing. How's that sound?
Yay.
Awesome, awesome. I love that. So I want you all to listen to all the things I'm going to talk about tonight that Susan's going to get from hosting this show. And what I want to assure you is that when I come to your house and I do every one of your shows, that we will pamper and spoil you just like we're going to spoil Susan tonight. And there's more at the end. I'll add that on the Facebook page, but that's the main booking part. So you get the show rolling, you've got the initial no's out of the way. Now we're to the meat and the potatoes of the show, the cooking portion. This is where you're going to plant lots of booking seeds, and they're not big, long diatribes about booking, tiny, short little things about the food, the fun, the friends, and the free. Because some people may have more money than we know what to do with, they don't care about the free. But when you start talking about time to get your girlfriends together or your guy friends or couples, people don't have time to do that, and they're like, oh, it would be the perfect opportunity to do this. So some examples of a few booking seeds are when you're talking or when you're thanking the host for doing a great job of getting her friends together is one of the reasons I used to host shows is because I never got to see my friends, and it's the only time we got together we were running in 23 directions. Boom, done, move on. So it plants that little seed. Oh, I could get my friends together. When you host a show with, if you're using the double burner grill pan, for instance, oh, and you know when you host a show with me in July, you're going to get this double burner grill pan and both presses for $100, not $250. Now, who could pass that up? Boom, move on. Keep on going with the show. During introductions, when you get to the past host, you could say, Diana, do you know how much you got for free at your show? Now, either she'll know or she won't. She'll talk about how much she got and how great it was. I always come knowing what she got. Diana, did you know you got $495 worth of free stuff at your show? Boom, move on. You know, and you'll get that, or I'll say, and you can get that too when you host your show. Or the last little seed that you could think of is I hope you all had fun tonight watching me cook and learning a new recipe. If you want the fun to continue, when I come to your house, we're going to learn a new recipe and have even more fun. Boom, move on. So those are just some examples of the seeds that you can plant. Once you get them thinking about those, booking the show, get those seeds in, you're golden. You get them, the wheels churning and turning. So a consultant I know puts little green dots on 5 products, and every time she touches those 5 products, they represent seeds, and she knows she has to plant a seed. Talk about something about bookings. Like, this is one of my host's favorite items to choose for free. Boom, go on, use the manual food processor, whatever. So, however, the other important part, oh Lord, time. The other important part about this selection of the show is planning your demo. And again, I'm going to go off that because hopefully I can talk about it quicker. Again, you can't do anything willy-nilly. If you just like, yep, that's my recipe, you send the ingredients out to the host. You send the ingredients out to the host, and you're not practicing that recipe, and you haven't planned it out, you're losing out. You need to plan out exactly what you're showing during that recipe, what you're talking about when you do that. And for instance is, if I'm looking through and I dissect the entire recipe, this could be a whole new workshop. And let's say you look at it and you're like, okay, it says I'm going to use the batter bowl. No, I'm not. I'm going to use what? Stainless steel bowls because they're 99 bucks. It's a fantastic booking tool. So you're going to go through the entire recipe, put in things you have, take out things you don't, put in higher priced products. So it leaves them wanting the higher priced products, and it leaves them a real reason to want to book a show again with you. So you've talked about bookings in the opening, you've planted a lot of seeds, and now it's time to water those seeds, and the best thing we can do is show you a strong close.
Okay, so my favorite thing to use in the strong close to encourage bookings is the booking slide. So I'm going to show you exactly what I do with the booking slide. So hopefully you can all see here. So this is what I would do and say at the end of the show. Okay, so did you all have fun? Yes. Did you all learn something new? Yes. Did you love that recipe? Yum. Okay, so how many of you like time with friends? How many of you like good food? Or maybe time with food and great friends? So do you know that when you host a Pampered Chef party, not only do you get time with friends and great food, but would you like to know what else you get? Okay, you ready for this? Okay, this is where you have to ooh and ah, because if you don't ooh and ah after I do this, I'm not giving away any prizes. So you ready for this? Okay, so if you like time with food and great friends, I got that backwards, time with friends and great food, when you host a party, you also get, you ready for this? And I screw that up at my show all the time too. You also get, ready? Okay, that was not loud enough. That was 14 years of practice. Thank you very much. So when you host a show, you get time with friends, great food, and you also get free products. So hosting is easy. First of all, Misty, did I make this easy for you?
Oh my gosh, it was so easy.
Good answer. I'm going to give you another ticket. Okay, so all you do is choose a date, we invite your friends, and I will even do that for you. And then we laugh, shop, and you know, it really needs to say and eat together. And then you get free products. And typically my hosts get over $200 in products absolutely free. On top of that, you get up to 5 products at half price. So if you've got your eye on that rock crock, and you want that grill pan, and you need that manual food processor, and you want that citrus press, and the list goes on and on, where you're going to get up to 5 things at half price, you're going to get a whole bunch of stuff free, and then you get great discounts. You get up to 30% on everything else at your party, plus 10% off for the entire year after your party. And there's that monthly host special we talked about, an added bonus item that you could get at 60% off at your party. Then you get the future party pick. This means when you book your show from Missy, she gets another half-price item at your show. And Katie, when you book your show, Missy gets a half-price item from you. And then when Catherine books from you, you're going to get another half-price item from Catherine, and that's going to go on and on. And then let's say you're thinking, well, this looks fun, this looks easy, I could use some extra income. Well, you could actually use some of what you get as a host toward the new consultant kit and then start your business for less. And then you get me. Okay, this is where you cheer really loudly. Much better. Great tips and personal service. So let's set a date and experience the great rewards together. Okay, thank you. And that is exactly how I do my booking slide, and I honestly do mess up that first part a lot. You just go with it. Yes, I guess so.
We'll get it on.
I love the booking slide because it's a great visual, and it really lays out all the benefits of hosting a show. It's really impressive, and it's really fun. And if you don't have the booking slide, you can purchase it on a supply order. Now, hopefully, using the booking slide is going to result in a lot of bookings at every show. But remember when I mentioned at the beginning that everyone is faced with a hole in their calendar from time to time, including Missy and myself? Well, if you're in this situation and you're at a show, you can offer a little extra incentive to get some extra bookings on your calendar. And if I were going to offer a little extra incentive, I would do it right at this point, right after I did the booking slide. And here are a few ideas you can try. First of all, there's something that I like to do called booking envelopes. And this is incredibly simple. You take an envelope, and you write the date you're trying to fill on the outside of the envelope. And inside, you're going to put a little slip of paper, and you can handwrite it, you can type it, whatever you want to do. And you're going to write on there what you would give somebody for agreeing to host a show on that date. It could be a small product that you have at home. It could be a rub, like you know those ones you can buy for $2 here at the chef store. You could tell, you know, they don't know it was only $2. Or you could put a little slip of paper that says, receive an additional $10 in free products at your show. And then they get that at their show. You don't give it to them right then. You're going to give that to them at their show. And if you don't have a product, you can actually put it on their order, and you put it on the host order. And even if you're giving them $10 in free products, it's not going to cost you $10 because you can put that $10 in extra free products on the host order. Let's say you had a $300 show. So the host discount on a $300 show is 20%. So that $10 in free products is only going to cost you $8. Plus, you're going to get your commission. So let's say you get 20% commission. So that $10 in free products will only cost you $6.40. Now, how much commission do you make on a $300 show? You make at least $60. So is it worth spending $6.40 to get a booking? Yes. I would say definitely yes. Okay, Missy's got another idea.
Okay, so my idea is you'll have 3 of these bags with you at the show. 3 different bags. Get them at the dollar store. They're cheap. You're going to reuse them. And what you're going to do with these is you're going to put the season's best that you hand the host in that opening we talked about in here, hand it to her at the beginning, and then you're going to say, I have 2 other bags here. And when any of your friends book their show tonight, one person books, you're going to get the second bag. And when another person books, you're going to get the third bag. So in order to get those 2 bags, she has to have at least 2 people book at her show. Does that make sense? And you can decide whether to give it to her then or to hang on to it until Susie Q and Donna J has her show, whatever. But with that, I'll tell you, I got that idea from a friend of mine, Terry Bales, who moved, just long story short, she's marrying my brother. Yes, you do find love at the Pampered Chef. But but she moved to our area. She knew no one, and in 3 shows, she got 14 bookings using that. So it's very effective.
Okay, here's another idea using the bags. Our bag is double duty. These are called now and later bags. And inside the bag, you are going to put a gift, like something small, like one of those $2 rubs or a quick cut paring knife or a citrus peeler. And on the front of the bag, you're going to put a picture of a slightly larger item. You can cut this from the website. This is a picture, if you can't see it, of the, what are they called? The tumbler?
The
double wall tumbler. Okay, and you can use any bag. It can be a lunch bag, but if you can make it look pretty, that's a good thing. And you are going to put these out on some table, somewhere visible during your show, display them throughout the show, and at the end of the show, after you do the booking slide, you're going to say, I'll bet you're wondering what these bags are for. Well, these are my now and later bags. When you book a show on one of my open July dates, you'll get the gift that's inside the bag now, and then at your show, you are going to get what's pictured on the front. So you get that gift later. And I only have 3 of these bags, so if you see a gift that you want to run up here right now and grab that so that you can, so that you can get the gift that you want. Okay, at the end of the show, there is, if someone could close that door in the back, that would be helpful, so it's not so distracting. Thank you very much. At the end of the show, there is one last opportunity to encourage bookings, and that's when you're taking orders during your full-service checkout. Now, full-service checkout is simply a conversation with each guest as you take their orders that offers them all of the services that we have to offer. And you want to start your full-service checkout just by chatting, build upon the relationship that you started when that guest walked in the door. And if there's something that happened during the show that's specifically related to that guest, then feel free to comment on it. But just try and make it a natural conversation. And then you want to be sure you are offering the following things to each customer. You're offering them the opportunity to learn more about the business opportunity, the opportunity to book a cooking show, the opportunity to do a catalog, a virtual show, or a Facebook show, and you want to end on a good note by offering them your information for the future or a recipe card. And you want to do it in that order. Anyone know why you want to do it in that order? You want to start by the thing that takes the biggest commitment first and then slide down the mountain. Don't offer them, the opportunity to do a Facebook show and then say, oh, would you rather do a cooking show? Or would you like to do a virtual party and then say, oh, well, maybe you want to start your business? Start with the business first and then slide down the mountain. So Missy and I are going to do a role play here to show you how the full service checkout could work. So Missy, thank you so much for coming to Catherine's show. You were a blast, and oh my gosh, you're like the master at that manual food processor.
Oh, I love my manual food processor.
I think you helped me sell like 6 of them.
Oh, well, that's awesome.
Well, I would love to work with you, Missy. Have you ever thought about giving this business a try?
Oh, no, not for me. No.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. Well, I would love to come do a show for you and your friends.
Oh, Susan, no, I'm not a show doer. I'm a show goer.
Okay, well, I appreciate your honesty, and we'd certainly love to have you at future parties. How about a Facebook or a virtual party?
No, sorry. I just like to come, Susan.
Okay, well, that's okay. I'm going to give you my business card. It's a magnet, so stick me on your fridge. You'll always know where to find me. And you do not have to be at a party if you ever need anything or if you have a problem with the product or you want to send a gift. Please feel free to call me. And if you know anybody else who's looking for a consultant, I hope you'll pass my name along.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's role play number one. We're going to do a second role play. Okay, hi, Missy. Thank you so much for coming to Catherine's party.
Oh, you're welcome. It was fun.
Oh, yeah, and you seem to have a great time.
Oh, it was great.
You enjoyed the recipe?
It was delicious.
Oh, good. Well, are you looking to earn any extra income? Because it would really be fun to work with you.
Oh, no, that's not really. No, I'm not really interested in that. I just
Okay.
like coming to the show, really.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to give you a little bit of information about the business to take with you anyway. And if you change your mind in the future, that's a join us brochure. Or if you know anybody else who might be looking for some extra income, please feel free to pass that along.
Sure.
Okay, I'd love to come do a party for you, though.
Oh, I would love to have a party. I just don't really know when I would do it. Things are crazy.
Okay, well, I know you have your eye on that Rock Croc, so
Oh,
we
I
should have you
do.
in July so you can get it at 60% off.
Oh, I don't know, Susan. July is crazy busy.
Well, let me ask you a question. If you were going to have a show, I do most of my shows on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Which date would be best for
Well,
you?
it would have to be Thursday.
Okay, well, I have to tell you I only have one Thursday left. It's Thursday, July 30th. Can I pencil you in?
And that Rock Croc is special?
Yeah, you'll get your Rock Rock at 60% off. Or we'll have an even bigger party and get it for you for free.
Okay, pencil me in and
You
I'll
know-
check my can I check
Okay,
my calendar
yeah,
when I get
you know what?
home?
I'm going to give you a call tomorrow, and if for some reason that date doesn't work, we'll find another. But at least I'll
Perfect.
reserve that date for you now.
That's perfect.
Okay, great. Just for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through the rest of the full service checkout. But you notice, first of all, if someone's reluctant to pick a date, what did I do? I helped her narrow it down. It's like with little kids, you give them choices. Do you want the red one or the blue one? And they're more likely to pick if you give them a choice. And when I told her that was, the only Thursday left on my calendar, she was much more likely to put it on the calendar. You can also say, you know what, in order to give my host credit for the booking, we need to put, at least a tentative date on the calendar today. And then you want to follow up with them. And you want to follow up within 24 hours. People lose interest at the rate of 10% a day. So if you are waiting 3 days, 4 days, or even worse, say, well, why don't you call me and tell me if that date works for you? No, that's a big no-no. Never say that. Whose job is this? It's your job. So you need to call them. And the other thing I want to point out is, regardless of whether or not they've booked a show, you want to end your full service checkout on a positive note by either offering them a recipe card, or what did I offer to her? My business card magnet, which you can stick to her fridge so she'll always know where to find me. Okay. Now, when you ask people at your first full service checkout to book a show, some people say that no because they just aren't interested in having a show. It's not their thing, and that's okay. But sometimes people say no and they give you a reason, and they really aren't saying no. They just have some hesitation. For example, someone may say they can't host a show because their house is too small, or they don't think they know enough people, or they're too busy. Well, it's important not just to shut down and say, okay, when someone expresses a hesitation, because we may be able to help them find a way to work through it. A great thing to say is, if we could find a way to work around that, would you be interested in booking a party? And if they say, what do you mean, or how, or yes, they've just given you permission to offer them some suggestions. So if they say their house is too small, you could tell them, Missy has a beautiful home, but most of my shows are in much smaller houses. We really don't need a lot of room, and we can be anywhere. Do you have a basement? Or we could be in the backyard. Or you could ask, do you have a friend you could co-host with and have the party at his or her house? Or, hey, could we have the show at a park or at a community center? If they say they don't think they know enough people, you can say, well, even small shows can be fun, but what if I worked with you to brainstorm to think of enough people to invite? And if we tell everyone to bring a friend, that will double your guest list. And if they say, they're just too busy, you can say, well, I make it really easy for my hosts. I'll send out the invitations, and I'll even bring the recipe ingredients. Just knowing that make it easier to think about having a party. Or, hey, would maybe a weekday or a daytime show work for you? Or maybe a weekend show? And if they say no, still remember, offer them the opportunity to book a virtual